Hi guys, and welcome to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Drayton Park Golf Club. I'm out on our 16th hole and I'm 40 yards away from my flag, my target. And what I'm going to be showing you today is how to cope with slope lies on short shots. So it was a question I got from one of my pupils here, and he was struggling when the ball was below his feet or the ball was above his feet. And it's part of the lesson we ran through a few weeks back, and I thought, well, maybe that'll make a good subject for a video, and that may help out some other golfers out there. So as I said, what I've got here is 40 yards to the flag. I've put out a landing circle, which is around 4 yards or so short of the green, which is where I'm trying to land this. It breaks a little left to right. So that's where I'm going to be focusing on. I'd always pick a landing area no matter the shot. So that's what I'm really trying to focus on, is landing that ball, that sort of 35, 36 yards, just to try and get that ball to release out. But the awkward part about this is the fact that I am higher than the golf ball. So I'm on a slope where the ball is below my feet. I'm going to be using my 58-degree wedge, which for a 40-yard shot is around a hip height swing for me. But I'm going to make a couple of adjustments because of the slope. And then we're going to go into a shot just the other side of the fairway, a little bit closer to the green, where I'm going to have the ball quite well above my feet, and I'll go on to the differences between the ball below here and the ball above over that side. So there's just a couple of changes I'd make. Obviously, the ball is lower than our feet, so we're not going to grip the club as low down the handle. On most pitch shots, I would be saying grip the club sort of more towards the centre of the handle. You may actually come up and grip it more at full length just because the ball is below your feet. How much you compensate with all of this would depend on the severity of the slope. So you could end up with a situation where the ball was a long way below your feet, in which case we're going to grip the club longer up the handle, and we may even take a longer club if that's possible. So maybe taking my gap wedge or my pitching wedge rather than my lob, just because it's a longer shaft and therefore shortening the swing. If it really is a slope lie, a shorter swing is going to help anyway, because it's not going to throw our balance out so much. With this one, I don't think I have to worry about it as much. The ball is below my feet level, but it's below my feet level by around 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches or so. So there's a couple of compensations I'm going to make. If it's an extreme slope again, I may go a little bit wider with my feet. I'm going to keep my feet still around shoulder width apart or just inside that. I'm going to keep the ball position pretty similar in the centre. If I start moving that ball back in my stance, the downside is we're not going to be using the full loft of the golf club and the bounce of the golf club. The lie is good enough. I want to really allow this club to skim, to use its bounce and use its full loft so I can get its stopping power. So I'm going to keep the ball in the centre. I'm gripping the club a little bit further up, as I said, and I'm just going to soften my knees a little bit more than I normally would do to try and lower my body down towards the golf ball. So I'm not going to try and tilt much further, because that's really going to throw my balance off towards my toes. I'm just going to try and soften my knees a little bit more to lower my body down towards the golf ball. Now, when you are off this slope, and I don't think this is going to have a huge effect, but if the ball was a long way below your feet, the one thing to mention with the club face aim is it would mean the club is going to be pointing a little bit more to the right of the target. So with this, it's called face plane tilt. When the club is flat to the floor, the club face is pointing at the target. If it's tilted so the toe of the golf club is lower than the heel, the club is going to be pointing to the right, and that affects clubs with more loft on them most. So it is going to affect my wedge, but I don't think this is extreme enough that I need to really allow for it. But again, if you did get on a really extreme slope, I would allow for it by aiming a little bit more to the left of the target, allowing for the fact that the ball's going to come off a little bit more to the right. So all I've done is I've lowered my knees a little bit more. I've softened my knees down so I'm a little bit lower, and I've gripped the club at full length. The only thing I'm trying to think about with my swing is maintaining my levels, maintaining my height. If you are a player that tends to shift up away from the golf ball, you are going to struggle with this. So maybe have a few practice swings and just try and get the contact that we're really looking for, that brushing of the turf. So I'm going to stay very still with my head and my body. I don't want any upward movement. So ball stayed the same. I've softened my knees. I've gripped a little longer, so higher up the handle, and I'm just going to try and keep my head very, very still. Not bad. I'm going to hit one more of those. It landed a yard or 2 yards short of my target area and a fraction left of it. So let's try and take more dead aim and hit just one more of those. Happy with the contact, happy with the strike. So a little bit more knee flex to lower my body. I'm gripping the club more at its full length and I'm trying to maintain my height. That looks good. Go a little bit. I just needed a touch more. Both were perfect, really. Just needed to land another yard or 2, but great contact. Really happy with that. You can see a very shallow divot. Follow me over to the other side and we're going to go into what to do when the ball is above your feet. Right, so I've made my way over to the other side of the fairway, and as you can see, I'm now faced with the opposite situation. The ball is higher than my feet level. It's closer towards my centre, so the ball is above my feet. I've got a shorter shot. The only reason for this is it was trying to find the right sort of banks and situations, but this is a pretty extreme version, just on the edge of a bunker, slope back down into the dip here. So, you know, you might say, well, it's quite difficult for the ball to stay up on this slope, and I would agree if it was cut like this. If it was a little bit longer and rough, or semi-rough, I think it may hold up there a little bit more, whereas this is cut relatively short like our apron. So I have got a slightly shorter shot. It's only around 20 yards or so to the flag now. Again, I've put up my landing area, but I just wanted to really go on to what I would do to adjust for this slope. There's a few things I'm going to be changing. So the opposite to where we talked about the ball being below our feet, because the ball is above our feet, it will mean the toe of the golf club is sitting a little bit higher than it would do. That means the club face is pointing to the left, okay? So for me here, the club is going to be pointing to the left. The first thing I would actually do, because this is a little bit more extreme than the slope over there, is I would actually just open that club face a little bit to compensate. You could aim just a little bit more right, or you could open the club face, whatever your preference is. Maybe try both. I'm going to just actually open the club face a little bit before I grip it, just to counteract the fact the club face is going to be pointing a little bit more to the left because the ball is higher than my feet level. The other things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to grip the club lower down the handle. So again, the opposite of what we talked about from the other side of the fairway, where I was having to grip it at the top, I'm now going to be gripping it lower down the handle. The only thing I want to talk about with the technique itself is try not to be forcing the club up and down. Allow the slope to make a more rounded swing. There is going to be more of an arc, more of a rounded swing on this slope. Don't fight against it, go with it. If you try and fight against it and end up with this more upright swing, you're just going to find you start digging the club into the ground more. Allow the club to work around your body like the slope wants it to, and you'll find you've got a larger margin for error with the strike point. So I've chosen a pitching wedge for this one, just because I want to land the ball sort of halfway-ish onto the green and get that ball to run and release out. It's a little bit uphill as well, and the green's a little bit softer. Otherwise, it perhaps might have been my gap wedge. So I'm going to open the club face a little bit before I grip. Clear off the rubbish off the club face. So I've opened the club face a little bit before I grip. I'm going lower down the handle, and I'm allowing the swing just to go with the slope more round my body. Focus on my landing area. It's a little long. Strike felt good, just landed too far. Let me hit one more of those. Yeah, contact was lovely. Nice strike, nice contact, whereas you'll find it very difficult if you start trying to fight against the slope. So open that club face, the line on it was good. So let's do everything the same, just a little less speed. Look at my landing area. There we go. So that one landed in my landing area. It took a little kick to the left, but it's finished about pin high. Again, nice clean contact, nice clean strike, really happy with that. Go with the slope, grip a little lower down the handle, and the only other thing I would do, depending on the severity of the slope, is just change the club face aim. Because of this slope, it's going to be forcing a little bit more to the left. I hope that video's helped. That's cleared up the ball below your feet and the ball above your feet when you're round the green. Give those a go. You know, if you can, practice those shots. It's a great to get out on the golf course, lay the ball down, just try a few different situations. Give it a go. Next time you're in competition, you'll feel a lot more comfortable tackling the sloped lies. Let me know how you get on. Do post some comments and questions below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content of the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.